And from Tucson, I came to ICA. Don't forget, I was the chairman of ICA, the second one after Naftil. After Naftil, I was the second. I came to chairman of ICA in the hospital. At the board of course, I knew Naftil, because his family, Naftil, at that time in Geneva, was good friends with the sister of my father, with the auntie. So the Naftils were for us known people. On the board of directors at that time, I was already a member. I was one of the first members of ICA. There was Durlapshi from Brazil, Durlapshi from India. And then I was a member, and they even elected me the German. They elected me, Konrad Wild, myself on the board. And then Naftil was already 4 years at least president, and I was in hospital here, and they looked for another president, and they couldn't find one. Then they phoned me. I was laying on, I had a problem with my back, I still have. They said, Dorab said, Mr. Petsch, Julius, you have to be our new president. I said, what do you want? Oh, I say, you know, it'll be fine, nobody, so you have to do it, you know. I said, if I become president, I negotiated with them. I said, I don't want. I stay in hospital. No, you will be all right. It's about. Call me after 3 days. I was thinking. Then he called. I said, Dulabji, I will be president, but you have to change the rules. Why? He said, you cannot take a businessman out of his business for 4 years because he wants to be president, and helping to build up such an organization takes your time. And if you are in business and you know our gemstone business, at the end, each gemstone business depends only on the brain, on the one man. Even you have the right man at the right place, but you have to know what they do, and you have to tell them, discuss with them how to continue. Said it's impossible. For 2 years, a man can do that. For 4 years, he should only be, let's say, advising it, and not working I said I can speak very nicely. I have made so many speeches in my life and in the Gemological Association and so on. So that is no problem. I can help to organize. And Maureen Jones, I understand very well, until she made the mistake of this famous Eckehard, you know. And then I accepted. I accepted to be the president of ICA, and I helped to build it up as much as I could, but only for 2 years. That was good. And what did I hear here in Idar? I had, after 1 month I saw already, even they had Maureen Jones said it was an overwhelming work. I opened on my own pocket, on my own money, and I had more than 40 employees, a little office here, and these big 2 buildings were at that time full with my office. I made one office only for ICA, and my secretary could speak fluently English, fluently German, of course, some Spanish, and she worked from the morning to the evening, only the director's work to do. I came in the afternoon in the office, as it is normal, get our point with Mr. Petsch, this and this and this and this, you have to observe. And though I could manage ICA from here easily, and I had somebody who prepared my work, so I could make sometimes I did a speech in America, sometimes here and there. I paid my own trips, never I asked 1 single cent from ICA to pay for me. And only when I became president, they paid the hotel. And then I could manage ICA. And as I was a German, after my time, the next one was Japanese, Mr. Fujita, and the board of directors. You can direct. I put some of my German friends here from Idar on the board. This was very good at that time. With Naftil, with me, with Fujita, I think at that time, really ICA became a good background because we had good people. We selected good people. What is now, I don't know, the last ICA meeting I came in Tucson, then I came there and these people never even did not know that I was president 2 years back. They didn't even know. There was, of course, Eliasri, all our friends, they know me, of course, but the normal employees and the normal secretaries, I said, my name is Julius Petsch, yes. Did you pay your entrance? I said, I can pay you. But did you know I was your president? No, you president? Then I said, okay. I am still member, but I still pay my fee, but it has changed a little bit. It lost its internationality. When I was there and the followers, we made it like this. So, but I became president of ICA. It helped me. I made it with great pleasure. I say I have made a lot of money in this industry at that time, and I have to repay you. This is what I give back to you. And so that was that time. At that time, it was the big question of oiling or not oiling stones. Remember, this was they all went around like this. At that time, already, after that, Fujitsu is still all right. ICA was losing its aim to promote stones. They lost themselves too much in these little things, oiling or not oiling, or then came rice ashake with red emeralds and all these things. Instead, that we, and that was at my time, I was forcing that we make, let's say, more bringing the gemstone to the market, like something, not a direct advertising, but promoting, you see. The idea of ICA was promoting gemstones in general. And ICA has never reached this aim because they lost themselves too much in this, I would say, scientific things, 3D or not 3D, synthetic or not synthetic. That was at the end not our business. Our business was to bring the gemstone in general, from agate to emerald, near to the public. And that, unfortunately, ICA has never succeeded because they never followed it up in that sense. I was like a priest preaching to the board of directors that we should move more forward in bringing gemstone to the people. Articles in the newspaper, like Financial Times, like our newspapers here, speaking about it. This they were never able or willing to do, because a president only can do, he can give the advice and his people have to do it. Maureen Jones at that time, she understood very often. I sat together and said, Maureen, what shall we do? Said, no. They were losing themselves in oiling, not oily at my time, and then the synthetic, not synthetic. And after my time came later on the emerald, the rubies, which they treated with glass, instead of dedicating themselves to the real aim of ICA was bringing the gemstone near to the public. And this, they have never succeeded. And therefore, they are, I would say, an international club today, mostly Asiatic, because the Europeans lost their interest. The Idar people, I try to convince people still to go on the board if they can. They didn't want anymore. They go to other direction. I think the basic idea of ICA is great. Never could have been better. But I think the executing of this idea, they have failed, bringing the gemstone nearer to the public. I had sometimes, why don't we make an advertising in all big newspapers in the world, something we approach a journalist, you want to buy a nice gemstone, ask your jeweler. We, gemstone dealer, we shouldn't do that. Therefore the jeweler is there, ask your jeweler, go there, or we, no, then they say to stay, then they did not grab, how do you call it, grab this idea. What is happening now, I don't know. After my time, after Fujita was there, I said, then was Eliasri there, then I lost traces, not interest, because I had other things to do, and that also I was old enough. Don't forget, you never shall forget your age. You have to leave the young people their opportunity. The young people who come, they are the future. The old one can give advice. The old one can tell them what they experience. But the young people, they are establishing the future. And the young people who came to ICA, in this case, did not follow up this idea also. And we also not. We are not that we are also guilty of that. But I think the basic idea of ICA is still, ICA is still very good, but has to be changed. Coming near to the public, making stones more known. Because of my old age, I am part of this kind of history. When in my younger years, just in the 60s, we had here in Idar, Oberstein and surrounding, working on gemstones, almost 10,000 people. And that went less and less. People became old. Many of their sons did not want to go anymore in this gemstone business. We have many who went to study, who made other careers, and there was in these old families no following up anymore. That is one reason. There was no following up anymore. And then on the other hand, we lost also more and more the influence at the mines, which still was at the mines, of acquiring rough material. And with the diminishing of the production here, we lost also we were not anymore so interesting big buyers anymore. Because if you have no money, so many people cutting stones, you can't buy. But why did it come so? It started when gemstone cutting was made more automatically, was made more, not only we were Idar Oberstein traditionally cutting them by hand, piece by piece. And later on, even in Idar Oberstein, were developed machines who could pay 10 at a time, cut 10 at a time, or 20 at a time, but also other people developed machines where they could, we call it semi-hand manufacturing, cut stones. And that was easy for a Thai, that was easy for other nations to cut stones. And so the company established. And then we also made, I think we made mistakes. People from here established cutting factories in Thailand. They established, let's say, their own competition. That was America, which United States made with China. You remember, we don't have to talk about this. Douglas made, they built their own planes instead of America, they built in China. We gave them our knowledge for present. The same was with us. We, as Idar Oberstein people, also established cutting factories in Thailand and taught them how to do, and they developed their machinery, so they make it very exact. And of course, they worked for 10% of the salaries we have to pay here. That's one reason. The second reason is that being the Indians had already since hundreds of years also a traditional cutting industry, they also established better manufacturing, and suddenly these Thais, the Indians, and even in Sri Lanka, they started to be important rough stone buyers. So the cake which we were eating alone until I would say 1980 had to be divided more and more. And then came the matter of salaries. More and more we couldn't afford anymore to cut agates in great quantity, because they cut agates in Taiwan, developed this industry. They cut agates in Taiwan for a small part of our salaries in beautiful stones, and though the rough went to them, there was no need, there was always enough rough, but we didn't have any more cutters to cut them because they didn't get any more the money which they needed to get for the kind of salaries we paid here. So it became more and more smaller. Where we are now? We are now at the stage where these 10,000 people have melted down below 1,000, I would say, or even much less, maybe below 300. This exact number I cannot tell you anymore. And we only specialize in special cut, in rare things, and in fine stones. We cannot compete anymore here in Idar Oberstein with the normal commercial stones, because they are cut outside, mostly in Asia, to 10-15% of cutting charge what we have to pay here. And so many people, when they were old, closed their office, closed their business, disappeared from the market, didn't go bankrupt, but there was no following up anymore. Beside a certain kind of very good companies here, who making only special things, very, very fine stones, very fine carvings, very expensive, like Paraíba tourmaline or aquamarine, and they have established good relations with high-class customers like fine jewelers or fine jewelry manufacturers.